Background. In 2009, there were 215,188 reported pedestrian injuries in the United States. 4,109 additional pedestrians were killed on the road. Of these, college-age adults made up the highest percentage. Rates of pedestrian injury and death increased in the years preceding this study. There are several possible reasons that this might have been the case. Being frequent pedestrians, college-age adults are at increased risk. This age group typically has an increased likelihood of walking at night. Additionally, college students are more likely to be walking while using a mobile device. Aim of the present research. Multitasking typically leads to poor performance on one or both activities that a person tries to split their focus on. Correlational data suggests a relationship between mobile internet use and pedestrian calamity, though firm experimentation is lacking. Research in the present study was focused on the particular influence of mobile phone distraction on the risk for pedestrian injury. Hypothesis. College-aged young adults who use the internet while on a mobile phone are more likely to take more risks and be more distracted while crossing a virtual street as a pedestrian than those who do not use mobile phone internet. This hypothesis should hold regardless of a person's demographic factors, perceived adeptness at using a mobile phone, or experiences of crossing streets safely. Goal of the present research. The goal of the present research is to test these hypotheses by manipulating the variable of mobile phone internet use while crossing a virtual street and checking these results against demographics, previous mobile phone usage, or street crossing experience. The participants of this study were undergraduate psychology students from the University of Alabama, 68 of whom were female, 24 of whom were male. 41% were Caucasian, 46% were African American. The inclusion criteria of this study were that participants must be aged between 17 and 25. They must own a cell phone that was capable of having internet connections that were 3G or faster, and they must use this cell phone at least 5 times a week for mobile internet. Procedure overview. Participants completed questionnaires detailing demographic information, mobile phone habits, and walking patterns. Their walking speed was then assessed. Participants crossed a virtual street using a digital avatar. They crossed this street 20 times. Half of these crossings were in distracted conditions and the other half in undistracted conditions. And scores for a successful crossing were tabulated with 6 variables in mind: hits and close calls, start delay, which is the amount of time between a car crossing a crosswalk and the start of the crossing by the participant, wait time, the total amount of time a participant waited to cross the street, missed opportunities, times in which a participant could have crossed the street but didn't, looks at traffic, looking left or right at traffic, and eyes off the road, time spent looking at things that were not the street or at traffic. To assess walking speed, participants were asked to walk a distance of 25 feet and to do so 4 times. These 4 walking instances were then averaged and used as the speed of walking in the virtual space by the digital avatar. Pictured is the virtual testing space as used in this experiment. In the crossing, participants stood on a raised platform that mimicked a curbside. By stepping off of the platform onto a pressure plate, a participant initiated a crossing. After 10 familiarization attempts, participants were asked to cross the virtual street. Participants crossed the street 20 times in distracted and undistracted conditions, in equal measure and at random, for the experiment. In the undistracted condition of this experiment, participants were allowed to cross the street without attentional encumbrance. That is, they were not required or asked to use a phone while they crossed the virtual testing space. In the distraction condition, participants were asked to use the internet on their mobile phone to fulfill a given task. Researchers previously sent participants 10 emails that required answers garnered from the internet. These would include, what is the current #1 song on iTunes, or what is the weather forecast for Chicago tomorrow? Repeated measures ANOVA were used to analyze the results of this test. This measure was utilized with the distraction and lack of distraction being used as the independent variable, and crossing scores being used as the dependent variable. Demographics, as well as self-reported mobile phone and walking habits, were used as covariates. Below is pictured a table with these results. In concordance with the hypothesis, it was found that distracted pedestrians were less attentive and safe while crossing the road. Analysis showed that mobile phone use was a detriment to attention and safety regardless of randomized order of crossings, age, gender, or ethnicity. Reported levels of mobile phone habits and walking capability did not affect safety or attention. Conclusions. Mobile phone utilization while crossing a street leads to inattentiveness and risks to safety. This effect is shown regardless of age, gender, ethnicity, or self-beliefs regarding mobile phone usage or walking safety. Limitations of the present study. Experimentations in the lab with virtual streets lack ecological validity. The present experiment was limited to a single specific crossing scenario. It was also limited to a single age group. It also did not reflect walking speeds of participants when they are distracted, which would likely be slower than what was shown in the experiment. Areas for further research. Changing the type of pedestrian crossing, including stoplights and increased variability in traffic patterns. Conducting experiments on different age groups, including younger teens and the elderly, who also use cell phones. And experimenting with the effect of mobile phone usage in other scenarios, including driving, conversations, and attention to danger and detail in a situation involving an aggravated person.